Welcome to Doug in Exile. Big Kari Lake news. Here's John Solomon's Twitter. AZ Supreme Court orders hearing on Kari Lake's signature verification issue, denies attorney's fees. This is the court case. I will actually break this out later. It's a little complicated, but it is technically good news and a step forward with that court case. And then here's a minor item. Here's Kari Lake's Twitter says, "Are you ready for the next chapter?" What is she talking about? Number one, she is releasing a book. So that's kind of chapter talk. But also, look, she's going to run for Senate. Here's Kari Lake teases next chapter as rumors spread. She is eyeing U.S. Senate bid. We were first on this months and months ago. It's really common sense. It's what are the chances of her overturning an election? How often does that happen? What are the obstacles to that? Very narrow, very difficult to do. What are the chances of her running for Senate? What are the obstacles to that? Nothing. So just from the path of least resistance, of course she's going to have a difficult time in court. She's going to have an easy time running for Senate. Now let's get to her court case. Lake's case was reviewed by the Arizona Supreme Court in March, which remanded one of her 7 counts to trial court and allowed sanctions against her to be considered. The remanded count was Lake's claim that Maricopa County violated its signature verification policies in the 2022 election. Okay, so that's just all convoluted. You can see how that it's becoming spaghetti, so I'll help unpack it for you. So this is just yesterday, on Thursday, the state Supreme Court granted the defendant's request of $2,000 in sanctions against Lake's counsel. So big deal. They gave her a hand slap and said, you will pay her $2,000. What did they do? For asserting the indisputed fact that 35,000 unaccounted for ballots were added to the total number of ballots, and for repeating such false assertions in an additional filing in this proceeding, according to the ruling. They just said the problem was that Kari Lake's team said it was undisputed. So here's Tommy Robinson unpacking that. The sanctions were denied. Kari Lake had to pay a small fine because her lawyer used the word undisputed. It was a minor procedural violation, so big deal. That's the $2,000 just for using the word undisputed. Set aside the sanctions and the fines talk for a minute. The defendants were denied their requests for attorney's fees as sanctions, which we just went into that. The court also ordered that the trial court shall forthwith conduct such proceedings as appropriate to resolve the allegations regarding signature verifications. Now they're telling them you have to now address the signature verifications thing, which is what the whole thing is about anyways. Okay, all that to say that. Here's Rasmussen reports. Update. Apparently, upwards of 300,000 mail-in ballots in Maricopa County, Arizona will now be checked for missing or mismatched signature issues in a race that has captured international attention and is divided by less than 15,000 votes. Okay. So by that court demanding they look at those mismatched signatures, there's 300,000 mail-in ballots that could qualify. Here's the actual legal document that came out. This was released yesterday. Kari Lake versus Katie Hobbs. This is the big take home. Okay. In their responses to Petitioner Lake's petition for review, respondents Secretary of State Fontes and Governor Katie Hobbs moved for sanctions against Lake and her attorneys pursuant to Arizona, blah, blah, blah. This court entered its order affirming the trial court and court of appeals on most issues, but reversing those courts on their dismissal of the signature verification claim on the basis of latches and remanding that issue to the trial court. So they're saying you have to look at the signatures, 300,000 potential ballots, and Kari Lake is still in the game, barely, because the other court can still dismiss it. They can still claim latches. They can still do all these weird things. Very difficult to do any of this stuff. You know what's easy? Kari Lake running for Senate. Please subscribe if you want more news on Arizona, on the election. I'm Doug in Exile.